Hey guys, your boy's back with Ruck and Roll React, and in today's one we are going to actually be reacting to the game between the All Blacks and the Wallabies at Forsyth Bar Stadium in Dunedin. Man, what a good time to be just a rugby fanatic, rugby follower with all the amazing games we've got going on at the moment. I mean, it's not bad rugby to be watching on the weekends, and yeah, this weekend's going to be no different. We know we've got the Wallabies on the with their back against the wall. You got Eddie Jones telling everyone it's rubbish. I'm picking the right side, sticking to his guns like Eddie Jones would. We knew that. And yeah, let's immediately get into the reaction of the team. And yeah, I'll talk you through it and my opinion of what I think of this team and what I think will happen this weekend. So let's get into it. So yeah, let's start there with the props. So it was interesting to see Tamati Williams will be getting a run. So what I like is it seems like Ian Foster has made the decision that it's time to now, he's got the luxury to be able to experiment with some players. But what I like about Foster when I'm looking at this team is there's still some, a foundation of good players that's been playing every week that will keep the stability within the team, because sometimes if you go change the whole team, that's when it concerns me. That's one of my concerns a bit with the Springboks. There's so many new combinations, which is a bit worrying. What I like is he's with his front pack, he's still got quite a few players in there which he's kept, which is a good foundation. But looking at this team, Tamati Williams had such a good game when he came on, and it's great to see him in the number one jersey there. And then with Lalala getting his opportunity, Nepo Lalala, also for him to be able to get an opportunity to play. He's been on the bench a lot. And then Ofa Tungafasi, Samasoni Tekeawo, that will be coming up as the hooker. I've wanted to see this guy start a game. He's so good from the bench. He's such a good impact player, but I would love to see the guy play like a 50 to 60 minutes and really see what he can do, because he's such a good carrier of the ball. So it's still a very exciting front pack, even though it's been changed. And then say no more when we come to the locks, the old pair of locks, the OGs, Brodie Retallick and Samuel Whitelock. So those two guys, we just know you can't go wrong with those two guys. They just, I don't know what else to say, but just, veterans of the game is probably the best word to use. So the experience there's just so many leaders that's going to be on the field again this week. Because then when you go further down there, Adi Savia and Sam Cane, both two other leaders, along with Whitelock and Retallick. So don't be mistaken that this team has got a lot of experience. So it's not like they're running out the most inexperienced team when it comes to the front pack. And I think that's where, Foster and his coaching team, acknowledges that the All Blacks don't want to go away from that really strong front pack game that they've been playing. Being able to go through phases, clean out at the rucks as quickly as they do, and build up, possession and momentum. So they've stuck to their guns pretty much in the front pack. They're experimenting a bit with like Finau coming in there, but for the most part, it's pretty solid. Then giving Finley Christie a run is really, I think, a very good thing. I think it would have been awesome for Smith to play because it's basically, home for him. But it is very important for Foster now to look at, depth. And what if, Smith gets, TJ Baranara's not there. So what if Smith gets an injury? Who will be standing in for him? You need that second option. So he's he's experimenting between, the likes of Roygaard and then, and then Finley. So it's going to be interesting to see how Finley does this week. He's a solid scrum half, don't get me wrong. And I don't think at the moment there's as much pressure on the scrum halves, because a lot of the kicking seemed to be happening at the moment from the 10. So the All Blacks not playing as much with their 9 doing the kicking as before. They kind of like to now be doing a lot of their kicking from 10 and sometimes from 15. 15 and 10 playing a lot of a bigger role in the kicking type game. So not really kicking as much from the box. So will be good to see that. I'm excited to see Damian McKenzie back on the 10 jersey, just because when that guy has played for the All Blacks, he's only but been great. I think he's underestimated. To say he's not as good as Mo'unga, they both really, really good, and such a good problem to have two such good number 10s. And now that Bodie Barrett and Jordie Barrett have kind of found their positions, it's good to have McKenzie as that second option there, and he could play a very instrumental role in this World Cup. As you don't know who can get injured, and you need two good 10s. It's always good to have at a World Cup, you know. Fianga Nuku on wing with Fianga Nuku also has been amazing when he's played. We know what he did last year. And then the other wing, which I'm really, really excited about, Sean Stevenson, which every time that he's played for the All Blacks, if it's now the XV side, doesn't matter what side, he has been outstanding, and it's been kind of frustrating not seeing this guy play 14, and I've wanted to see him, you know, put on that 14 jersey, and it's good to see him this week, and I'm really curious. I just think he's been scoring so much tries, and he's been in such amazing form that I just think he's going to have a really good weekend, but we'll see what he does. And then Leonard Brown and Inor on the centre pair. You can't fault Brown. He had a good game last week. He had some line breaks. He looked really good. So there again, a really, really good decision. I think it, bringing in some new blood there, but still, kind of pretty experienced in the likes of Leonard Brown in that backline. Damian McKenzie, Finlay Christie is not new to the team. So in the key positions, they've got experienced guys, and then deciding for this game, he's going to play Will Jordan on fullback. So you're like, what are they doing? They're messing around with Will Jordan. Then he plays wing. Then he plays fullback. It's a good thing, guys, because now you create a utility back. And utility backs, as we know, we've seen from the last World Cup of the Springboks with the likes of a Frans Steyn. Having utility backs is so important for World Cup to be able to be used everywhere if you get injuries. So I think a very good decision there again by Foster and the team to look at Will Jordan on 15 this week again and see how he slots in, because if he can play a similar game to the type of game that Mo'unga and Barrett played, we might be in for a really good game with these two guys. But I like the team. I like the way it's been picked. I think it's intelligent picking, not just putting totally new combinations on the field, but also maybe new combinations, but experienced type players that you're not concerned that, it'll just, fall apart on the field because, no one really knows each other and everyone's inexperienced. Like kind of what we saw last week with the Wallabies. Now, with that said, granted, the Wallabies unfortunately don't have the type of depth that, New Zealand has. Now, going into the replacements, we've got Dane Coles in there. I think Foster, wants to keep that guy in the mix just purely because it's his last World Cup. There's a lot of other good players at the moment, so he's got to fight for his position there, but it's good to keep him in the mix just because of his experience. Ofa Tungafasi, which will come off the bench, he has all along, he's been good. Newell, Nvai, being able to come on second half in that lock position. You've got Jacobson, Aaron Smith is on the bench. I'm sure they'll bring him on just so that he's got a good send-off. He'll finish the game. Richie Mo'unga is still in there in the mix, so he might also come on at some point. And then I also like the fact that Dallas McLeod is now getting his opportunity. He's been, outstanding in the Super Rugby. So it's just fair to also give this guy a go. So that they've really given everyone a good opportunity to show themselves before they announce the team on Monday. Which I will give my predictions, by the way, what I think it's going to be. It should be interesting to see how close I can get it. Well, that's the team for the All Blacks. Let's quickly look at the Wallabies. So if you look at the Wallabies, but I like the fact that, now I kind of get it that he's saying, look, I'm sticking to Gordon and McDermott, which he's building that confidence in those players now. You cannot keep changing them. So he's clearly saying, look, I'm done with experimenting. That's what Eddie Jones is saying by picking the same guys this week. Personally, I still feel between him and a Gordon, just currently, between him and a Quade Cooper, Gordon and a Quade Cooper, I feel Quade Cooper, they're not playing him enough, and he has got a lot of experience. You want that guy to play a role in this World Cup. I know he's a bit, he's risky sometimes on the field, but he has matured a lot, and he's proven that. But for some reason, he's not getting a lot of game time, and I'm concerned with Eddie Jones. Maybe he doesn't fit into Eddie Jones' type of, game strategy. But what if he gets an injury at number 10 and he wants to play Quade Cooper, but he's not giving him a lot of game time? Look, I'm sure Quade will come up second half, but I get what Eddie's trying to do here, to say, listen, I'm going over McDermott. He even makes him captain just to I think, prove a point. These guys are here to stay. And he puts Gordon in again. And I think he's trying to now say, this is my combination that I will be building on, and I'll be taking to the World Cup. This boy might be young, Gordon, in international rugby terms, but he's going to be my guy. So that is clearly who he wants to back for this World Cup. The rest of it, sorry, I'm starting at the back line this time around, but it doesn't really matter. The rest of that team, Korebeti, Kerevi, Pataya, I can't even do this. Nawakantiwase, I try every week, guys, and Kellaway are all experienced players. It's not like these guys are Nkwantiwase maybe not as experienced, but we just know on a winger, if you got pace, you got pace, and if you got skill, you got skill, and he's proven that. So that backline's solid. They got a really, really good backline, the Wallabies. The problem is the forwards and breakdowns and being there, putting in the hard work, and that's where they have to pick up their game. I think this week you've got Angus Bell with a lot of experience. I don't really know Fuamuosili that well. And Pureki, he's also now, he's running out of hookers there. So now he's got Pureki in. Pureki usually comes up. He's played a few games, but he's not, the same as a Alatoa or a, you're going to help me in the comments. But yeah, the guy who injured his ribs. He's not as good as those two. But yeah, he's got to now experience with these guys, and maybe that creates depth. If they're going to be good enough against the All Blacks here at home, I don't know. Richie Arnold, Nick Frost on the locks. Then you got Tom Hooper there. It's all very new guys. Tom Hooper new. Fraser McWright also pretty new. Only Rob Valentini there that's got quite a lot of experience. And I think this is where the challenge is going to come in for the Wallabies. Is their 6, 7 and 8 being so inexperienced? They're really missing what's Captain Fantastic, Hooper. They're missing him, because if you got 3 guys there that can, be quick at the breakdowns, turn balls around, be good at the jackling to try and, get in there quick enough. And at the same time, if those guys can put more pressure on the fly off. So if they can put the pressure on McKenzie, because the kicking game for the All Blacks is a lot, on the fly off. So they need, a loose trio that can be really pressurizing in that area. And I'm just wondering if they'll be able to execute that this week. And then on the bench, James Slipper there with loads of experience. Ulisi, Nungur, 1 test. Skelton, 27 tests. Leota's there. Nick White's on the bench, very experienced. Quade Cooper, how experienced? And Perezi, I don't know. Excuse me, guys. When I'm looking at the Wallabies team, what do I think is going to happen this weekend when I'm looking at both these teams? Well, guys, I think, let me get back into the screen. For me personally, when I'm looking at this game, I reckon definitely the Wallabies will come back stronger this week. I do not think they can not be better this week. I just think they took so much flack in the press. All these players have got their backs against the walls as well. They all want to prove the world wrong now. So, and I'm sure Eddie Jones have been also firing them up in the background. So I reckon definitely it's going to be a very good first half from Australia. I think they'll probably score first. I don't know why. I'm just guessing. But I've got this feeling they might score first. It might be they might stay in the game on the scoreboard this week. More discipline, maybe less penalties given away. And they will stay in the games. Both will have their times in the first half and they'll be competitive. I do believe also second half for the first while they'll be competitive. But as they, get tired and, towards the end of the game, I'll say the last 20 to 30, I think that's when the All Blacks will start taking control of the game with their possessional type of phase playing and kind of wear the Wallabies down and then start playing the more expansive game in the back. And I will say that the All Blacks will win by 8 points. And this is being very conservative. It could probably be between 8 and 15. I do not think the All Blacks will lose it. There's just too much experience, in that team that'll be on the field that will allow it. The kind of, it's all got to do. You can only have that much coaching and you can have just that much talent on the field. Then it's all about heart, leaders on the field, and kind of guys that can motivate each other. And I just feel the All Blacks is in a very good place. And I don't think they'll allow the Wallabies to make them lose at home. I just don't think so. So I do think the Wallabies will come out stronger, but I do not think they'll be able to pull it through. But I think it might give Eddie that kind of like license to say, see, I told you so. And yeah, you can see we are getting better and all of that. I think that will come. Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this video and you do watch them one after the other, I don't know if you're watching on TV or on phone, there's just a red button at the bottom. You're going to say, I'm not a fool. I know where to click this. But please, man, I'm chasing that 1,000 subscriber mark. Thanks so much for watching, like always, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.